Yo, what's going on, Headliner Nation? Man, Chris Chow's back again for the Fantasy Headliners. Hope everybody's doing great and wonderful out there as per usual. I am fabulous. Why? Because we get to talk some more football, man. What better place is there to be than talking NFL football? I love it. I am back. And what do you say we continue the path of trending players? Because they are, very important. We got to understand the values. We got to understand where these players sit as of today. Again, just to clarify, it is a fluid event. That does not mean this is how this will continue throughout the course of the regular season, but where they sit today in the news, in the practice, and how in the games, how they're playing, etc., etc. This is what we do, man. We got to know these values week to week. But first, before we get started, you guys crushed that light goal once again, and we got a winner chicken dinner, man, for that draft guide, Andy G. He loves tacos and the Fantasy Headliners, apparently, and he got himself a Fantasy Headliners draft guide, man. Contact info at thefantasyheadliners.com, and you will claim your prize. I'll also give you a comment on your comment so you know to claim your prize as well. But what do you guys say? We waste no more time and talk about Week 3 preseason trending players up and down my board. So as per usual, it is running backs and wide receivers because, they're the most important positions, obviously outside of quarterback. But, for fantasy football, you can't go no place without your running backs and wide receivers. So on the board for running backs, it's Travis Etienne, my guy, man. Rashad Penny, Devin Singletary from my Bills, Antonio Gibson, and J.K. Dobbins on this list today. And I'm going to start with Travis Etienne because right now, I've been talking up Travis Etienne since his Clemson days because I am a huge fan. It is a man crush, okay? But I take all my analysis and it's unbiased, 110%. But as of today, we got Travis Etienne rising up the board that much more because we got news. Okay, fine. James Robinson is coming back. They're saying that he is progressing extremely well and is likely to play in Week 1. However, the caveat which gets Etienne on the rise this week is they're saying he will likely get majority of touches as the RB1 in this offense for at least the first 3 to 4 weeks as Robinson starts to come back from his Achilles injury. We do understand, Achilles problems, it's not a good track record for running backs coming back the season after and then thereafter. So, it is definitely something to definitely keep your eye on. But for me, I've been pushing Travis Etienne for so long. He does have that Liz Frank as well, but he has looked very, very good. Sidebar and side note, if you didn't listen to the podcast, you got to look at Travis Etienne's running style. So one of his feet, I believe it's his right foot, when he's running, or his left foot, it's always on the sideline. His left foot creeps out when he's sprinting, and that could be a problem when it comes to risk to re-injury because it's an unorthodox way of running. He's done it throughout his entire collegiate career. He's been able to, produce and put up good numbers while having this running style, but it is definitely something that I'm keeping my eye on now. I missed it on the scouting report, but I'm definitely on board right now. Nevertheless, with all of that, I'm still believing in my guy Travis Etienne that he's going to be a very sizable fantasy producer this season. I love his game so much. Rashad Penny next on the board in the Seattle Seahawks. They got some news this week which puts Penny on the rise. And that is, of course, rookie Kenneth Walker III. He hurt himself, or he sustained a problem with they calling it not a sports hernia, but it is a hernia. So he did go in for a procedure to clean it up and fix it up. So he will miss time right now. No timetable for him to return at this point, which is a problem for us fantasy managers who had pegged Kenneth Walker III, like I did, to at least start to have a bigger role around the halfway point of the regular season. This may now get pushed back a couple weeks based on when he returns to the field of play. Rashad Penny is extremely explosive. Yes, this offense isn't going to be a darling like it used to be with a Russell Wilson, but Rashad Penny now is going to get the bulk load of the carries and the touches for at least likely the first few weeks until we see Kenneth Walker come back from his rehab until he's fully healthy and cleared to play on the field. So right now, Rashad Penny is definitely getting some upticks, and he is becoming more safe, even though he does have his own injury problem, and he does like to, frequent the medical room from time to time. But I do like his skill set, especially from where you could get him at his ADP. His stock is definitely rising in that regard. Next one is Devin Singletary, my Buffalo Bills. And from the news reports that have come based on how the Bills have utilized all three running backs in this preseason with Singletary, with Cook, and with Moss, We're hearing that it could be a trio mudded, backfield this year, and I'm not for it. I do not like it whatsoever. I want the Bills to, take a dump or get off the pot already and give it to Singletary and Cook. Make it a 1-2 punch tandem where Cook can be the speed guy. He can catch the ball. You can change the pace with Cook, and then utilize Devin Singletary on the opposites, with, first and second downs. And then, okay, fine, if you want to put Moss in at goal line, fine. But again, that's going to make this offense extremely muddled at the running back position. So right now, I got Devin Singletary on the down. You cannot trust this Bills backfield this season to this point. And I think that, as we start to get into the season, we will see, I still believe it, man. We still see James Cook be the cream that rises to the top in this offense. And I think he's going to be one of the guys that everybody's going to want fantasy-wise. Devin Singletary and Zach Moss may be the two that they interchange, based on touches, based on, efficiency and productivity and yards per carry and situational football. So it is definitely something to keep your eye on. But for me, Devin Singletary, I am definitely on the down on this, man. I just can't handle it. Antonio Gibson next on my board, and I'm telling y'all, this basically he's a punt returner now, apparently based on the Washington Commies, beat writers. He's going to be taking punts in the season, apparently, and I don't like this one bit. This is the fall from grace that we were not expecting from an Antonio Gibson. Yes, they drafted Brian Robinson from Alabama. Yes, I'm a big supporter of Brian Robinson, so right now Antonio Gibson is on the down. I didn't think I could drop him any further, but I mean, he is going to be very difficult to trust, and I really don't believe that he's going to be able to produce consistently weekly for us to trust him unless an injury goes down, unless he finds ways to find more trust in the coaching staff. The fumbling problem is not on his side. He has dropped the ball, which has put him down the depth chart and put him in situational football like on special teams. So this is a big problem. We could definitely see a Brian Robinson and a J.D. McKissic dominate touches maybe as the season goes on, but again, it's going to be a muddled situation in Washington that we are not going to be fans of. So right now, as of today, Antonio Gibson is definitely on the low and going down my board, man. J.K. Dobbins, next one on my board, last of the running backs, and I got him on the rise, if you can believe it. Yes, I'm still skeptical of this ACL. Yes, I understand he's been cleared to play. The good news is on the rise for J.K. Dobbins is that Gus the Boss Edwards is going to be out. He's on the PUP, so what is it, 4 to 6 weeks? I can't remember how long the PUP is. I believe it's 6 weeks, but he is going to be out for that tenure, and now you're going to have J.K. Dobbins likely going to be the guy in this backfield. Yes, they got Mike Davis. They got the rookie that they drafted, Tyler Beatty, and I mean, maybe we see more rotational weeks 1, 2, 3, and then it's J.K. Dobbins time. If he is healthy, I truly believe that if that knee is right and on point, J.K. Dobbins is going to feast in this offense, especially now with an Isaiah Likely who is showcasing his talents at the tight end position. Said this on the podcast as well. If you guys didn't listen, go check it out. It's a damn good show. But I'm telling y'all, if they go double tight end sets with Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews, this is just going to promote more ability in the run game, more ability for J.K. to catch passes from the backfield, more screenplay opportunity. I'm loving it all day long. I think J.K. Dobbins is a definite riser right now, especially at his ADP. Yes, we got to be cautious early on based on usage of how Baltimore will use him, but I still believe that J.K. Dobbins at this point is on the rise, man. Wide receivers, let's go. We got Darnell Mooney, Michael Thomas, Tyreek Hill. We got A.J. Brown, and another Buffalo Bill has creeped up on my list, and Gabriel Davis, man. So, I mean, let's go. Darnell Mooney right off the bat. I will tell you, and I'm going to break some hearts doing it, he is on a slight downtrend for me, and there's a reason for this, okay? We all understand path to targets. We all understand path to volume. Excuse me. And I do realize that a Darnell Mooney is going to be favorable in path to targets. He will be peppered this season. The only caveat I have on this right now is the struggles that I have seen, read, and heard about the Chicago Bears pass game right now with Justin Fields and this offensive line. They are saying it is terribly struggling, and it is not a good sign for this pass game overall. Will Darnell Mooney produce contests for you this season on his own, basically? Absolutely 100%. I'm a huge fan of this man's game. He is a wide receiver 1 in this league, and he will prove it by himself. However, I just question the consistency at this point. Yes, his ADP is fairly low. You can likely get him at a wide receiver 3, and I'm still okay with that. However, the down marker has to be on matchup play, and you're going to have to make tough choices whether or not you're going to start him week in, week out. That's kind of where I'm going with this. I am definitely not out on Mooney, but he is his trend right now based on how the pass game is not producing in Chicago the way we wanted it to see with Justin Fields. Right now, I got to put him on the lower trend right now. Still, he is a guy that you want to draft, but he's a little bit lower for me. Michael Thomas, next one on the board again. Here we go. The same thing is turning its ugly head, and Michael Thomas has found himself back in the medical room, with a hamstring injury. He's coming off that foot, that ankle, and right now, I got to say he's on the down. I have to put him lower simply because of what Chris Olave, man, my guy. I've been preaching up Chris Olave for how long? OSU days. I believe he is a supreme talent, and he will showcase that in this league. I pegged him on Headliner. You saying Chris Olave was one of the safest wide receivers in this NFL draft, and Olave is going to continue to prove that. So that's why, for me, as Michael Thomas struggles with injuries, getting back to playing shape, football shape, we had to expect that he was going to, have some soft tissue injury. And then I don't think it's anything serious that we have to be concerned about. But as we sit today, I got to say his trend is on the down because of guys like Olave, because of Landry, how Jameis Winston could, pass the ball around the field a lot. Until we see Michael Thomas back to full health on the field, beating defensive backs in game action. Right now, I'm okay still drafting him later, but I got to put a big caution on him as well because he's back in that medical room. Next one is Tyreek Hill, the speedster, and I don't like it because he's in Miami, and we got to see it twice a year now as Bills fans, but nevertheless, he is cooking every defensive back on the field. He is definitely on the rise right now. Adding to that promise of what Tyreek could potentially be, Tua has been hitting him all over the field. And the side note that I did not hear until recent, that Jalen Waddle has been dealing with an undisclosed injury for the past 2 weeks, has not played, has not practiced. This is a warning sign for me. With the season's coming up very quickly, maybe they're just being cautious, overly cautious, and Waddle will likely be ready week 1. However, it is something to note at this point where Tyreek is blowing up defensive backs, playing out of his mind right now against guys like Darius Slay on the field against Philadelphia. He cooked Slay like he was standing still. This is what he's been able to do so far in training camp and the preseason. Tyreek Hill, I'm speaking of. And I think he's just going to continue. I think that Tyreek Hill is one of these guys who can elevate a quarterback who is on an above-average kill like a Tua Tagovailoa is. And I think right now his draft stock should be rising for where you could get him because I think he's going to produce a lot of good points. So keep your eye on the Jalen Waddle thing. That may change. Hopefully it does because I'm a big Waddle fan as well. But I think Tyreek Hill is definitely being a little bit slept on, even though he is in the top 10 of wide receivers right now. A.J. Brown, I've been very, very critical on this man this entire offseason. And here, okay, fine. Philly fans, here's a little bit of an uptrend for you because he's on the rise just a little bit. And the reason I have him on the rise is because I question always Jalen Hurts' passing aptitude. This has been my biggest problem with Jalen Hurts. Is he a fine quarterback? Sure, no problem. Is he a great fantasy quarterback? It's looking like he is because of the rushing upside. However, can he support multiple weapons in this offense with a Dallas Goedert, with A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert, and A.J. Brown and a Devonta Smith? Can he support all three of these men along with whoever's going to be in the running back room taking passes from the backfield? Can Jalen Hurts support it all? I question it greatly. However, they have been peppering A.J. Brown with targets, which could be at the loss of a Smith, at the loss of a Dallas Goedert, maybe more for Smith than Goddard is. But I think A.J. Brown likely could see a massive target share in this offense and be peppered because single coverage may have to be there because Smith is no slouch. Goddard is no slouch in their own rights also. So, but for me, I've been so low on an A.J. Brown. I still believe that his ADP is too high for where you're going to have to get his services. But as we sit today, based on how he has been performing, he's been turning out, making Hurts look that much better. Same argument I had for Tua. I got the same argument for Hurts that A.J. Brown is going to make Hurts that much better in this pass game. So as of today, I got grown man A.J. Brown on the rise, man. Gabe Davis, last one on my board for wide receivers. And okay, everyone wants the breakout. I want the breakout, not just because I'm a Bills fan, but because I believe in what Gabriel Davis is. I believe he is an alpha wide receiver. I believe in the next few years we will see this man take over contests just like we did in that playoff game versus Kansas City. He is a true alpha wide receiver, could be a number one wide receiver talent in the NFL. In my mind, I believe he does have that skill set. He's bulked up to 227 pounds. He looks good. He looks fit. He looks strong. So for me, as we sit today, Gabe is on the rise. We couldn't put him up anymore, obviously, but I'm putting him up more because I believe that this Buffalo Bills offense is ready to go. We saw what they were able to do in the last preseason game. It was the Bills coaching staff said, we're going to play Josh Allen and the starters until we see, good progression. And it was like 3 plays, bam, bam, touchdown, Gabe Davis. And the coach was like, hey, everybody out the pool. These guys are good. We're done. And this is what it's going to be. The Buffalo Bills are ready to go, man. It's a well-oiled machine. They're prime. And I think Gabriel Davis is going to have a monster season. Could we see both him and Stephon Diggs take 1,000-yard campaigns? 110% with TD upside going to a Gabe Davis because he is that red zone mismatch that you gotta love. So there you have it, man. That is this week's edition of running backs and wide receivers in trends, and we got some good ones this week. So there you have it. Like I said, that is trending players for this week, preseason week 3, I should say. Stumbling already, it's because I'm excited, man. I'm excited. Football is coming. September 8th, the Bills and the Rams on Thursday Night Football. You gotta love it. I think my pants are already wet, and I'm gonna have to change them. Just simple as that. Too much information? I know, but I'm excited. This is how it goes. But nevertheless, as always, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, jump in those comments. Give me your thoughts. Let me know who you are. I'll enter you in to win for that draft guide. But we'll see you next time. I am out.
Yeah. Analytics off the chain, all the channels not the same. Jake